Hey, it's Shaves, and welcome to another edition of the another expedition of the Anime Encyclopedia. Hope everyone's doing well. There we go. I don't know why I always do that. Let me know if the levels are good. We got a packed, packed schedule this time because we're finishing E. We're doing all of E from first to the second half. First and third edition, and of course, all none of the last 2 weeks have been kind of bare, at least from what I can recall, and then this week, which is it's all of it. Here's all of the things, you know, great. Hello, Greg. Good to see you. So no funny business here, fellas. We're going right into it, and we're going to be laser focused and trying to get all of it done in a reasonable amount of time. Good to see you, Secret Identity Studio and Tom's House. Thank you for the audio sounding good. Could be a tad quieter. Something like that. I don't want it to be mute is my problem. But it's so hard because I never find a way to hear it myself, you know what I mean? I'll stay quiet. Oh no, you're good, Hazel. I love you guys talking. It's just me personally. It's more talking to myself of like, okay, we have to be a bit curt with some of these things. But sometimes you know what the difficulty is that like I list some of these things and I'm like, yeah, that's it, and it doesn't seem interesting, and so I get kind of self-conscious of that if I'm having a, you know, if the stream is still interesting for you guys. And I appreciate a lot of the people that have been here for almost every stream or have been checking the VODs afterwards. It's been great. And, you know, we're still rocking with it. I have the kind of the projection, right, of, like, I'm going to work on the Naruto video for a long time, like, throughout the year. Once I have this video out that I'm working on this month, and then I have 2 other videos that I've recorded, and so I feel like maybe try to release one of those once a month-ish. And I got an idea for a 3rd video, or 4th video in that case, that are small. It's kind of low stakes and easy to make, that are just kind of like small and interesting. And I'm only talking generally right now because it's like 5 minutes before 7, and then when I hit 7 we're gonna you know. And maybe if there's like a lot of time at the end, then we can like read one of the articles or something. I finished Space Battleship Yamato and it's meh, but I'm almost done with Yamato 2 and it's very meh. Oh. See, I've watched the 74 series alongside 2199, and I loved 2199. I loved it. And then original was fine. It's not great. I also gave it a meh. But that stinks to hear that the second one is also very meh. That's too bad. I've had the complete series of Yamato sitting on my shelf forever. Maybe I should read it at some point. I actually got something from my roommate regarding Yamato. Yeah. I thought it was 1 volume. I actually have 3. I have 3 raw Japanese Yamato manga. Another one. There's another one. I've not really opened them or read them that much. But it is pretty dope. Yeah, this is volume 2 and this is the first 3 volumes. Pretty dope. Content machine. I was thinking about that, right? Where it's like, I don't feel like a content machine, but at the same time, I have been doing digest every week, working on this video and a couple others. And then I also just recorded Brawl for patrons this month, as well as AniTubeT is next week. I have a guest lined up for next week. So I mean, I guess technically I'm doing a fair deal, but it's not like a video every week. It's not that kind of thing. Well, it is. There is a video every week, I guess, technically, but easy. I forget. Was it originally a manga? I don't remember the deal with it. I think it was sort of I think it might have been a situation where it was a simultaneous thing, like Sailor Moon, where they wrote it at the same time as the anime coming out. But that could be the case. I believe so. Got a single volume release from Dark Horse, I think. Yeah. Like the big omnibus thing. What was I thinking though? Oh yeah. So I mean, before I focus on Encyclopedia stuff, let me know what you guys think of this idea for a video. Silly idea, kind of, but Arthur, the PBS Kids show, I don't know if you know about it, they're celebrating its 25th anniversary this year, and their last season 25, it's only going to be 4 episodes, and then it's the series finale. But to celebrate it, this week they've been doing a live stream of all 250 episodes. All of them. And it's on YouTube too. It's great. So I've been following that and like watching a lot of episodes and stuff. And I rewatched one of the episodes from season 2, 3, 4, around there. It's not the first season. That I loved. I usually love that episode, but then watching it again made me realize that it has kind of an interesting parallel to anime fandom, which I kind of think was interesting, or something that I'd want to talk about. I've wanted to talk about Arthur for a while. I actually wrote a script for like a BMF years ago. It was like a big thing about Arthur or whatever, but I have not read that in a while. And I would probably do something a lot different. But yeah, so like this episode, and I was thinking about making like a short video out of this episode that's called That's a Baby Show, where Arthur gets kind of hooked on kind of a Teletubbies clone. It's sort of like it's called the Love Ducks, and like it has like these trippy visuals and like music and shit, and it's for very, very, very small children. Like it comes off, it's very clearly for small children, but like he likes it and it's really cool. And there's things about that episode and the way they handle that just reminds me of like being a closeted anime fan and how people get into it and stuff. And there's just a lot of elements to it that I just think I would just want to talk about. And I don't know if that would be interesting. I don't know. I'm saying this on stream since I'm asking what you guys think. Let me know how weird that is. I'm going to put these Yamano with editions back. It's 7 o'clock. But it'd be like a short video, just kind of breaking down that video, that episode, and bringing it into the context of like, as an anime fan watching this. It's actually, I think it's really cool, and I don't know, that's just me. The 7C's, my bad. UYKK's getting an English manga release. I'm so happy. Definitely getting it. Already started collecting it in French. Rip. Nana limited edition Blu-ray's already sold out. I hope there's a standard edition in the pipes because I missed out. Yeah, we'll see. We'll see. Alrighty then. Notes. Okay. So, yeah, we're doing the rest of E, so that means not corrections, but yeah, basically like changes from the first to the third edition. They moved and changed Glick's Adventure to Enchanted Journey, and they tweaked the synopsis a little bit, and they also added some info about the old dub from a few years after. Like I think it was made in the 80s, or at least sounds that way. It has Orson Welles in the dub. It was really interesting, and I think I'll probably loop back to that one later, because I looked deeper into that one. There's some odd choices with that. End of Summer, they added a lot. This is all this shit. And this was really interesting, actually. They added that End of Summer seems to be the first dating sim to be adapted to anime, which is first I've heard of it. I thought the first one was something Gaiden, something. I don't remember the name of it, but I don't think it was End of Summer. I need to look up End of Summer again. Like the visuals for it. It's not even showing up on, oh, weird. It's not even showing up when I put it in Taiga, so I'd have to look at the Japanese title again. They added a blurb about this 45-minute one-shot that was expanded into 2 30-minute episodes and 2 more episodes. They added info about the 2-episode direct sequel from, God damn it. End of Summer. I don't remember if it was like since 2001 or something, or if it was completely missing information. Yeah, it was completely missing information because the 2 more episodes. This direct sequel is from 1995, and the 9-part TV drama, like all of this is from like the 90s. So they just had more info, and they added about how the array of alternate versions was never released on DVD, making their job difficult, basically. Classmates presents a truly bewildering array of alternate versions for the encyclopedist. Many of these alternate versions were never released on DVD and are consequently uncatalogued on the filmmakers' websites and lost to the anime historian until the inevitable giant anniversary box set of all variants in the style of Cream Lemon. So, like, they probably didn't have this information. They looked for it, and then some anniversary thing came out, and it has all this other shit. Added info about the 3-part graduation special, the Laserdisc box set with the making of special. They added a bit about unrelated live action series. And they also cut this description of Classmates 2, which I've recorded in odd choices, which is just because I just wanted to make sure I kept that because it's hard to see in the 3rd version. Like, I do highlights and stuff. Yeah, so I have to see that. I'll read comments. Isn't there an episode of Arthur where Arthur dreams the rabbit guy went to Japan and he says Tezuka is a god in Japanese? He says Tezuka is the god of manga. I actually played it on stream a while ago, but it's because his best friend Buster, who's the rabbit, he actually leaves the show for a number of episodes. It's like a whole story arc, and yeah, and he says Osama Tezuka-san wa manga no kami-sama desu, is the god of manga, which is pretty funny. A little racially insensitive because he has the kind of the squinty eyes, but otherwise it's really funny. Anyway, they moved Ima Yojo, erotic temptress, to erotic. In the 1st edition they listed it as Ima Yojo, which totally goes against their like, why are you using the Japanese name right there? And then in the 3rd edition they moved it to an erotic temptress. They changed Maya. So, like, in the 1st edition, they were saying how Maya goes through all these crazy shit, and apparently, it's actually a variety of women all named Maya. So I don't know if they've seen it or they didn't pay attention or something. I don't know. It's 5 episodes. It's like a 5-episode porn, so I wouldn't be surprised if they skipped out on it or just kind of trying to read from the back. But somebody corrected them on that, I guess. They cut. So, like, they have wanders a fantasy landscape in the 1st edition, and then in the 3rd edition it's just like wanders a landscape. Okay. And they added this note in the 3rd edition of, it's previously released in the U.S. as this, and that's why we put it like that. But obviously, it kind of contradicts and goes against their rules, basically. So they're kind of giving excuses there, or rationale to, give them the benefit of the doubt. Erotic torture chamber was changed, so they changed the word decimated to torn apart. Not a very big change, but kind of strange, random change. And they added this note. The alternate title Princess Road is a mistransliteration of the original title by distributor 5 Ways. Okay. Evangelion, they changed in turn damaging the U.S. anime market to in turn altering the U.S. anime market, which we'll talk about later. I did write that down further down, which I thought was an interesting point that they made. Not fully accurate, but still interesting. A perspective I've never heard before. They also added, of course, an entire section on the rebuilds and the 2004 DVD box set. They moved and changed the title Evocation to Trouble Evocation, and that was weird. I think that was the one where, like, in their like description, it has Trouble Evocation is like the Japanese title, and it's like, well, why isn't that filed as under T for Trouble Evocation? I don't know. Excel Saga, they fixed this little typo, I guess, across company to across company. They changed protecting the world isn't a well-paying job to conquering the world isn't a well-paying job, which makes sense because when you read it in the 1st edition, it doesn't make sense because I've not seen Excel Saga, but like the way they describe it, it's like, Across company boss Il Palazzo continues his ongoing attempt to conquer the world. Working for him are the two beautiful agents Excel and Hayat, but protecting the world isn't a well-paying job, and the girls have to share a flat and travel the world on a subway. So it's like, wait, are they conquering the world or protecting the world, right? So, 3rd edition, they changed that. Other various spelling corrections, like names and things like that, little things. They also added a bit about the dub actress straining her voice and being replaced halfway through. That was interesting. That's obviously not here because it was a forthcoming release, as of the 1st edition. And then they changed how the final episode. So the 1st edition they wrote about the final episode. The final episode was not broadcast but included on the video release. And in the 3rd edition, they gave a little more detail to that, which is something I had heard of before. Gotta find it. Yeah. The final episode was intentionally made too violent and obscene for television, ensuring that only 25 episodes would be broadcast and that fans would have to fork out for the DVD. Okay, interesting. Yeah. And then they also added how, there's like, so they, in the 1st edition, they do mention that, Puni Puni Poemi is a spin-off from the show. And then they added it as its influence can be felt long afterwards in Panty and Stocking. So they're just kind of adding another title kind of related to it, basically. Fair enough. And then finally, X Driver, they added this line with a sop to younger viewers in the form of 13-year-old driver prodigy Soichi. And then they added a whole paragraph about the 2002 movie and a different paragraph on the 2002 special. Yeah. I think Excel Saga is on my list of mecha anime, so I'll definitely watch it someday. I don't remember any mecha. I wouldn't be surprised if it showed up with the mecha, like, at some point. Kind of wacky stuff, Some titles that were not in the 1st edition that could have been, because they were before 2001. Emperor of the Plum Planet from 1969. Endless Serenade from 2000. And Everybody's Songs from 1961. And this one's actually kind of an interesting title, which I'll probably talk about later. I hear Excel Saga is being reviewed. Hope they gave it a good take. Also, hi. Yeah, good seeing you, Fullwood Man. Positive reviews. I'm thinking of a different show. They did give Excel Saga a positive review. So positive. Emblem Take 2. It cleverly combines nostalgia with modern savvy and gangster chic. Embracing Love Cicada in Winter. Beautiful and moving story with real emotional impact, enhanced by lovely color design. Emily of New Moon they were positive about. Breath of fresh air with nothing to offend and much to delight. Nice. Emma, of course they were when I got to Emma, I was like, they're definitely got to be positive about this one. Unless it does something terribly wrong. I'm like, they gotta love this one. And they did, of course. Gorgeous, refreshing. The people who made it actually seem to like what they're doing. I don't know if I wrote that in odd choices or not. Or maybe I'll just put it right here or whatever. I don't want to try to give, like, repeated information. But, I don't like that. Just assuming that people who worked on something because you liked it, it means that they liked it too and they enjoyed what they did. Maybe you got that from interviews and stuff, and then that's fair. Or that's great. But, like, you could say that as well about other titles and stuff, and then, like, I mean, fucking Yasuhiko talks about how he considers a lot of his projects like Giant Gorg and Venus Wars and Aryan failures because they didn't perform at the box office, or like they didn't perform financially well at the time. He doesn't care if they find an audience later. There was a recent interview where he talked about this with Ollie Barter, where just because people found a new interest in the West kind of discovered Giant Gorg later, doesn't really make much difference to him. He still considers it a failure. But, like, those are still really beloved good shows, right? And good movies to people. I've not seen Aryan yet, and I haven't seen Gorg, but I will be getting to it very soon. At least sometime this year. But, it doesn't... I feel like those two things shouldn't correlate. And you can't just assume I don't know if this is assumption. Maybe it is. Maybe it's not an assumption. But like, maybe they say it seems like. Let me find their exact wording. But like, I just kind of found a little bit of a qualm with that, because it's like, does that mean, because there have been allusions in other places, and I'd probably have to like Control F or really look deep into where they may have said this. But there's places where you can tell that they were like, oh, the creators don't care. The creators are just cashing in their whatever. I don't think they've ever said lazy, which is good. I hope not. I could probably Control F and find lazy and see what if they say it anywhere. Not to, scrutinize them or anything, but I don't like making assumptions about creators like that personally when it comes to like gauging quality of a work, if that makes sense. Let me see if I can find it. Yeah, a Victorian Cinderella invested with a true rare quality. The people who made it actually seem to like what they are doing, working with Kaoru Mori's beautifully observed manga from Comic Beam. So it's like, I don't know if they sourced that, or they don't source it here, or they're just assuming based on like they like it, the quality or whatever. I don't know. Maybe I'm being a little overdramatic about that aspect. It was Excel World I was thinking of. The last episode of Excel Saga was made deliberately raunchy as a kind of send-up to increasing anime censorship. It's not meant to be canon. Interesting. Emperor of the South Side. They called it hard-hitting. But this is definitely one of those ones where, like, they probably just kind of threw that in there. It's not really their opinion and, like, their take, per se. So that there's going to be definitely a sifting of, like, which one is their review, and which one was, like, they just kind of gave their opinion, their little take. Equation of the Rotten Teacher. Humorous homosexual variant on the school shenanigans of homeroom affairs. All right. Escaflowne, they loved. The glowing praise for this one. Genuine family entertainment. Arguably the best TV anime of the 1990s. Heck of a take there. Honestly, I'm not disagreeing. I think that's a very good take, actually. I enjoy that. I love that show. Strong. Very strong take. But, yeah. One of the few shows to continually outdo itself. A triumph. And, yeah. Crazy. Loved it. Even if the network wanted to air the episode, they couldn't due to a scene in the opening that mimics the infamous Porygon seizure incident, though toned down to relatively safe levels. Damn. Everyday tales of a cat god, cute characters, and lightweight situations are pleasantly undemanding. They liked a slice of life, I guess. Excel Saga, truly insane comedy in the spirit of Dragon Half, fast-paced and energetic. Exile Generation, they also liked. Animation is very pretty and impressive. I don't know what that is. Impressive. We'll just do that. Saying anything is the best anime of the 90s is a very strong claim considering how great the 90s were. Yeah. But for particularly TV anime, yes, absolutely. Negative. Not too many negatives this time, which was nice. It was a good time. Erotic Torture Chamber. Animation and design poor quality. Production crew just trying to pay the bills. See, that's what I mean. They're just trying to assume things of the creators. Like, what if they liked doing that stuff? Like, if they had a good time. Maybe they didn't, like, agree with... They weren't, like, a fan of the work itself, but they enjoyed their time because they liked working with those certain people. Like, they have fond memories of going to the bar afterwards and having fun afterward, Like, maybe that's a positive experience for them. But it's always just slavishly trying to pay the bills or something. Just because you find it in such poor quality and whatever. Characters lifted from other shows, languorous pacing. Or if you think of something like, I don't know, Escaflowne, right? Like, what if it's, someone was there was a hard ass and, like, it was an unpleasant experience for some people, despite it turning out really, really good. You have no idea. I think the staff experience and their intentions, and then the ultimate, the end product, I don't think always really coincide. I don't think it's a smart idea to try to make them one and the same, personally. X-Driver. Love Escaflowne, but there are so many TV anime that could be considered the best of the 90s. Dear Brother, Lane, Yu Yu Hakusho. Yeah. Cowboy Bebop, Berserk, Utena, Evangelion. Predictable sci-fi rehash for X-Driver of Fujishima's earlier You're Under Arrest. Okay. And some mixed reviews. Embracing Love, Cherish Spring. The plot was random and difficult to follow, but there's plenty of eye candy. Endless Serenade. While art and animation are mediocre, character development is surprisingly intense for a porn. Alright. Engage Planet's Kissdom. There's a slow start and it has a chaotic plot, but there's a good deal to offer visually. And the machinery, I think it's by Kawamori, is gorgeous. Engage the Unidentified, they were pretty mixed about. Objectively bland and unassuming. They're like, they just straight out say it. But they do say there's, despite it being bland and unassuming, there's an interesting allusion to the old custom of like arranged marriages, which is kind of the central conceit in the show, where it's like a very modern show, but it has this very old conceit premise around it. It's interesting in that way. Evangelion, they were mixed about. Yeah. Deeply personal, psychological odyssey, innovative casting, ultimately ended in a series of disappointments. I think I will probably read the article a bit in detail when we get to odd choices. It's not one of their egregious takes, in my opinion. I think it's an interesting article. Not mentioning Trigun, Bebop, Evangelion. I could go on, but then my comment would be 5,000 words. Yep, for real. Spoilers for Escaflowne. In only one of the first several major plot twists, it's revealed that such and such, of course. And then Explorer Woman Ray, who eventually reveals himself as whatever. Let me skip down to... I'm only in a half hour. I blazed through them. Never mind. Wasn't as hard as I was thinking. Maybe there's a lot of odd choices though. Guess we could slow down a tad, but we'll go into some good ones. Escaflowne is a very good article. Just with like how positive they were about it. Pretty thorough. Deliberately designed to appeal to male and female viewers in equal measure, Escaflowne is genuine family entertainment both in and out of the anime world, and arguably the best TV anime of the 1990s. Its ambiguous nature is reflected in two spin-off manga, Katsuaki's The Vision of Escaflowne for male readership of Comics A, and Yuzuru Yashiro's Messiah Knight for the female readership of Asuka Fantasy DX. 5 years in the planning, with something of a debt to Secret of Blue Water, and Utena, where Escaflowne and Utena were the two highly romantic shows that flourished in the morbid vacuum left by Evangelion. In remaining its coherence throughout, and its earnest devotion to fantasy ideals instead of arch irony, posterity may well decide that Escaflowne is the best of them all. I guess just because it's not cynical like Evangelion, or morbid, I suppose. Reputably passed over by manga entertainment for being too childish, it starts off looking like a school romance or girls' sports anime before transforming into high fantasy adventure. As with Gunbuster, its first episode is a red herring. And I'm like, wait, what? I think I wrote that down as like one of the strange things. As with Gunbuster, its first episode is a red herring. Did anyone think that I mean, both, really. Does episode 1 of Escaflowne even have the OP? Because, like, you would expect... I don't know what you mean. Like, just because the vast majority of the first episode takes place in the real world, and she doesn't transport to the fantasy world until, like, the very end of episode 1, which is nice, I don't consider it, like, a red herring in the same way. I don't know if the OP played in episode 1. And so people kind of know what to expect, and so they'll just patiently wait for the first episode. If it was like the first 4 episodes, then that'd be like a little like, oh, huh, we're really not getting to that stuff too quick, are we? Huh. You know, that would be kind of subversive. But like first episode, like not really. And Gunbuster is a red herring? Does that make sense to you guys? Arranged marriages still happen in Japan, mostly done by wealthy people who want to maintain their wealth and power. Yeah, I know, I get that. It's still, they were still commenting on the fact that it was like an old custom, all things considered. It still happens, it's just uncommon. I think Escaflowne's plot gets a little muddled at times, but I still really like it. They have an excuse for that. They do mention that, but they're like, it still works out. Still wish Cartoon Network or Adult Swim got the rights to Escaflowne back in the 2000s instead of Fox screwing it up. At least Adult Swim got to air the movie. Yeah, they do talk about that as well. That they kind of bungled it. There's a monster shows up in episode 1 of Escaflowne, I think. I don't know what they're talking about. Yeah, I mean, I don't get it either. Funny that Escaflowne is the one that didn't hang around nearly as much as Eva. Love looking at older sources like these to see how kind time was to these old opinions. Oh yeah, it is interesting. I do think it was severely handicapped by the Fox thing. By its localization effort, but also a lot of it by like, yes, it's a happy title, but it's not challenging. It's really good. Escaflowne is awesome, fantastic, but it's not. It wasn't one of those titles that I think were like super influential or like were huge in the same way. They're good, but that doesn't necessarily mean they're huge. There's two different things, you know what I mean? Yeah. The other... Let me keep reading the Escaflowne article. Let me put the chat over here. Yeah. A school soap opera where Hitomi pines for her handsome senior, Amano. In a steal from the stage version of Peter Pan and Wendy, the actors of Earth scenes also play doubles in the fantasy world. Shinichiro Miki provides the voice of both Amano and a real Prince Charming Alan. One of the few shows to continually outdo itself, Escaflowne is a triumph. Though the dub sadly missed the opportunity to differentiate between accents on the two worlds by making all the Gaians British. Though it was reduced in size from a planned 39-episode run partway through production, the only evidence is the absence of opening credits from the first episode. Ah, so it didn't play in the first episode. Okay, I got you. But like even then, if you don't even look at the cover or something, unless you went in blind, like undeniably blind, you know what I mean? As blind as you possibly could be, which is very difficult these days, I think, especially for an old title like this. The absence of opening credits from the first episode in order to allow the crew time to cram in extra exposition. This was remedied in the Japanese video release, the retail version of which also restored deleted scenes to the first 7 episodes. As the inevitable consequence of its popularity... So this is another one that was kind of like a weird choice. It doesn't make sense to me. As the inevitable consequence of its popularity, it exists in bastardized versions, including the incoherent 3-part Best collection that unsuccessfully crams the entire story into just 180 minutes. I'm not familiar with such a compilation, to be honest with you. The series was further boulderized for the American TV market, with Yoko Kanno's beautiful music torn out in favor of humdrum techno, and the first episode removed in a version that, with bitter irony, was taken off the air after 10 episodes because of low ratings. Yeah, but I don't know what they mean by inevitable consequence of its popularity. It exists in bastardized versions. Is there some sort of rule where, like, or some sort of trend where if something gets popular, it's going to get fucked up in some way? Like in a bastardized version? Did that happen with Akira? Like, that happened with Nausicaa, but like it wasn't even that big of a... Ghibli wasn't a big thing back then when it got bastardized with Warriors of the Wind. So I don't know what they mean. I think it's just unfortunate on Escaflowne's part in particular that it just kind of turned out that way. Sunrise in the 90s was pumping out gorgeous looking work. At least Escaflowne lives on. It lives on in Super Robot Wars. Well, everything does. At least Adult Swim outbid Fox for Case Closed. That would have been a 4Kids One Piece level disaster otherwise. Yeah, probably. That'd be funny. I mean, the thing is, apparently 4Kids didn't. I don't know where I'm getting this, but I feel like I've heard this before. Where like 4Kids didn't even want One Piece. Like they didn't want it, and like they Toei forced it on them, and they're like, oh, fine, because they saw that they couldn't really get away with some of the violence in One Piece, and so they're like, well, we don't want to deal with those titles, and yet they foisted it on them basically. It's not like they actively chose to do that one, at least from what I can recall, or what my mind is telling me is the case. I can't remember what the source was. I may have listened to an ANN podcast or saw it on a tweet. I don't know. I don't remember what it was. But that wasn't necessarily their fault, is what I would say. But yeah, I just didn't know what they meant by that. Where like, oh, because it was also the inevitable consequence of its popularity. Escaflowne wasn't really that popular, right? There's just multiple things going on here where like, inevitable consequence of its popularity, it's not that popular, and is it really inevitable in that way? With like, that's what kind of kneecapped it from being as popular, I guess. Bastardization is the reason that Saint Seiya is unpopular in America. Yes, and in a way, yes, but One Piece managed to overcome it, I think. But granted, because One Piece is still going, Saint Seiya was not. But like, I don't know. That's tough with it, because like, you would think that the shonen guys, like the people who are super into battle shonen stuff, would check out Saint Seiya, and they don't. They don't register it whatsoever. They don't even think about it. It doesn't cross their mind. I genuinely think it's because of how it looks. I think it looks very old, and it looks very pretty, like the shonen stuff. So they're not gonna watch it. I just don't think like I think it's because our thing was Dragon Ball Z, and it's like, well, yeah, so was Central America or something like that. You can give other examples or something, and also give the example. Saint Seiya is actually very manly, and I'm like, sure. I mean, I like it. I really like Saint Seiya, but like I can kind of see why it didn't get popular personally. Besides its bastardization is what I'm saying. I know the OG dub for Akira mistook the gender for the Shinto priest character and gave her a male voice actor, but that's about it. Yeah, that's nothing. I never really got why 4Kids was so squeamish around violence when it's not that they were squeamish, it's that that's literally what they were forced to do. Because they were working with that's TV regulations. They had level of violence in the 60s, and then the 80s came. The 1980s were way stricter. They got very, very strict with violence for kids. It got way more, you can't do that type of thing. I don't know if Escaflowne. Yeah, Toei did force them to get One Piece, as they refused to give them the rights to Doremi and Pretty Cure otherwise. I guess so. Yeah, that's fair. I don't know if Escaflowne was ever that popular, even in Japan. Could have been, but I don't know. Yeah, I don't think so. It was less. I think it was less 4Kids directly and more the advertisers. From what I remember, Escaflowne was massively popular in the 2000s, but mostly only with women. I mean, sure. Makes sense, it's a shoujo, pretty much. And then they just kind of mentioned the movie and that's it. They don't really say much else about it. But I like that article, personally. It was interesting and pretty holistic about that show. Evangelion, so there's this little blurb here I wanted to mention. So they talk about how TV had because of Eva, due to Eva's success, TV became the growth medium for anime, in turn altering, and in the first edition, they say damaging the US anime market. Eva damaged the US anime market, with distributors forced to risk more money for longer series, for TV series, when they would prefer shorter movies or video productions. Similar to with Streamline, where like they would prefer the kind of thing that you can play over and over, like OVAs and movies, rather than a long TV series. However, this was eventually and so they added this in the third edition. This is all they say in the first edition. They're like, oh, the Ava screwed up the U.S. video market, like literally damaged the U.S. anime market because they were forced to risk more money on the longer productions. And then in the third edition, they say, however, this was eventually beneficial in the long term, because it allowed American TV channels, Toonami, to scoop up these serials for broadcast during the boom in anime fandom that followed Pokemon generation into their teens. So I think there's a good... I agree. And it kind of links into the Evangelion kind of shaping the late-night TV anime thing, where they could do a lot more experimentation, a lot more weird stuff. It kind of revitalized the whole industry in a way. Of course, a lot more cash flow and stuff, too. But I actually messaged my boss about this because I thought this was interesting insight, because, this whole thing with our documentary and stuff. And he's like, I don't think I agree with this fully. He was saying because the reason that... I forgot to loop the movement music. The reason, in his mind, that U.S. anime market had to veer away from movies and OVAs and into TV series is because that's what was getting made. The economy dried up in the 90s, and that's what stopped. And so, like, OVAs just kind of stopped being made by and large. Like, there weren't nearly as many. And so I think it was more of that was the reason why they had to move to longer serials and stuff, and not necessarily Evangelion in particular. I think it's kind of a mix. It's a vague, but I think that they pose something kind of interesting here. Toei could have taken the rights from One Piece away from 4Kids at any time, but they made them dub it under the delusion that it would become the next Yu-Gi-Oh. Besides Escaflowne, I know women loved Please Save My Mother Earth from the 90s and 2000s. Fun fact, I once read that the manga inspired the plot of Sonic Adventure 2. Nice. It's sick. But yeah, I thought that was interesting about Evangelion. And this article here, Everybody's Songs. I don't know if you guys have heard of this one. I certainly hadn't. Everybody's Songs, or Mina no Uta, is from 1961. I'm not going to read the whole article because they kind of just list a bunch of like different examples and stuff. But they were basically 5-minute episodes, 1,300 of them, and it's been going like every week or a couple of times a week. Japan's national broadcaster NHK is a canny operator, as demonstrated by its long-running mini-show Mina no Uta. Presenting popular songs in 5-minute slots on radio and TV for kids and families, it fills daily gaps in the schedule, promotes musicians and new releases, and keeps many anime studios and independent practitioners in work. Not every song in Mina no Uta is animated. There are also montages and live-action episodes, disqualifying it from consideration as Japan's earliest or longest-running animated TV series, Instant History and Sasai-san. Until the 1980s, the split between live-action and animation, or illustration, was roughly 50-50. Since then, animation has come to predominate. It is, however, likely to be one of the first cartoon works ever seen to be by many Japanese children, and forms an extensive interactive element of music in anime with sing-along subtitles. Not all of it has survived. As with other TV shows worldwide, many early episodes have been lost. A mere 500 are extant in NHK's own archives from the first 2 decades of broadcast. Although an online database exists of known performances and animators, it is difficult to accurately assess the exact number of episodes because of the number of repeats. Since 2006, the rebroadcast of earlier episodes have been marked with a logo called saying request, and an on-screen title giving the original broadcast date. However, previous episodes were often broadcast several times a year and day without indication as to their original airing. The average 5-year-old viewer, of course, would often be oblivious to such recycling or even welcome it. And so they talk about how there's world music, and there's all different types of art styles, and there's puppetry involved, stop motion, tons of different stuff. Lots of variety here. And you think, a couple of big names and stuff. Makoto Shinkai did a thing at one point. Trying to skim through some of the ideas here. Yeah, they talk about a lot of different songs and music artists, as well as like animation stuff, CGI. You know, Taku Furukawa animated dancing umbrellas. You know, they list a whole bunch of them. Some examples. It's interesting. I never heard of that program. It's really cool. Eva popularizing late-night TV anime resulted in a lot of my favorite anime, but it also led to anime that were based on nothing but anime. At least I think Anno said something like that. Well, yeah, but to be fair, Evangelion is kind of the early... it was just doing what the 80s were doing. The 80s were referencing a lot of anime themselves, and he was coming off of that. So, I mean, Eva has a bunch of references and influences too, so... You know, I think it's kind of weird and silly to complain that a bunch of people copy Evangelion when Evangelion copies plenty of other stuff too. That's just influence, and I think it just makes it, I think it's interesting in that way. 4Kids staff straight up admitted in later years that they half-assed the One Piece dub, hoping Toei would get angry and they'd take the rights away. Sadly, Toei being Toei, it didn't work. Yeah, it makes sense. Ono was lamenting how new animators and creators were only pulling inspiration from other anime and manga, not outside sources like as was the case with the old guard. And I'd have to agree. Yeah, of course. But it's funny when, like, Ono did literally that. He took from anime. You know? It's like, I can see Miyazaki talking about that. And that, you know, because he was one of those people that is taking from real life or from other sources that are not anime. He's not like an anime fan in the same way. But Ano is literally that. I mean, he's granted he is taking from other stuff like Tokusatsu and Jerry Anderson and other influences, and I think that benefits his work greatly. And so I agree to that extent for sure. But it's just funny when it's like Ano does the exact same thing. Not to call him, I'm not calling him a hypocrite or anything, though. I just think it's you know, understand where you're coming from too. It's not all bad. But I wish some creators were more well-read on stuff outside the industry. I think sometimes they are, and then that stuff doesn't really get transferred into animation for whatever reason. Oh. Titles I'm now interested in. Let's look up some stuff. And not play any clips because I don't want to cut the screen out next time. Let's see. Put it over here. Okay. First one is Emblem Take 2. Great. Okay. Let me look that up. Sorry I keep bumping the mic. Great, there's no fucking English equivalent. Alright, if I look up characters, I do. It's just Suzumu. Fuck me. I don't know. If I look up people, perhaps. No Japanese equivalent, apparently. Tetsu Imazawa. Okay. Emblem Take 2. There we go. Yeah, another one of these Yakuza things. I like the premise of this one. 10 years later, his friend was ordered to kill him, and as he ran away, he killed himself, ending his miserable life. When Joji opened his eyes, he was back in 1983, at the fight with the university student that caused things to go wrong. Now, with 10 more years of memories and experience, he repels the university students with spirit and wisdom. Now he swears to... It almost kind of reminds you of Tokyo Revengers a little bit, right? Doesn't it? Just a smidge. But I just thought that was an interesting premise, and they seem to kind of like it. Is not Emblem Take 2, like with the number 2. God damn it. Oh, I don't know how it is in Japan. I do wonder how often long-running anime rebroadcast episodes like with American TV. Yeah, probably. It happens a lot. One Direct Priority is getting Blu-ray. That makes me very happy. Yeah, good for them. Are you egg-pilled? Yeah, dude, Mal's search is broken. It actually just emblem take 2 on Mal, but doesn't show up when you type that. Ugh. It's bias. It's bias against the it's bias against like the titles no one knows about. I swear, dude. Let's see what else they do. Embracing Love Kakata in Winter. This is a Shonen Ai. Embracing Love Kakata. I think this is it, actually. Yes. So there's like a period piece. Actually pretty well rated. Actually, it's I thought it was more of an older title, but it's yeah, I mean, all things considered. But yeah, it's like I like the title, and it's like a period piece in a love story of sorts. Interesting. 8, 8, 8, 10. Pretty well liked. Pretty neat. Sweet. I just thought it was interesting. Emily of New Moon. This is one where like they were pretty positive about. So I just thought it was interesting. Made me want to check it out. And oh, yes. Yeah. Look at that. That does look nice. It's by the same author as Anne of Green Gables, I'm pretty sure. Only 26 episodes. Seems like a good time. 9, 8, 3. I'm not English, so this really might be bad. Have a bad English. It was one of the worst and most stupid thing I ever watched. 3 out of 10. Oh, Mal never change. I just ignore the special as the special. I haven't seen the special yet, but I honestly kind of like the show. Of course. Oh yeah. I think people have. I think enough time has passed with Wonder Egg that like people can separate and just be like, yeah, okay, it has that thing, but it's still really cool. I'm excited to watch it, knowing that happens, like knowing that's coming up, and not being like, oh, don't get hooked up on the ending and having it wrap up or whatever. I just hope it's a fun moment-to-moment basis show. Because, like, I mean, it was not the case with, like, with Review Starlight or with Flip Flappers, where, like, I just didn't enjoy it as much on a moment-to-moment basis. Never mind how kind of weirdly they ended, you know? Hello, Holy Pig. Are you going to watch the Cuphead show? I'm not too interested. It seems fine. If I hear earth-shatteringly good things, maybe. But even then, I mean, I've heard earth-shatteringly good things about Arcane, and I didn't really go out of my way to watch it. I'm too anime-pilled, TBH. Okay, Enchanted Journey. Maybe I said I wouldn't do this, but, I said I wouldn't do this, but it is on YouTube a little bit. While I'm on Enchanted Journey, let me pull up the odd choices very briefly. There we go. Candy camera. Where is it? Enchanted Journey. Okay. Enchanted Journey. At the end, in both the versions, 1981 and in the 2001 edition and in the 3rd edition, at the very end it says, compared to Bannertail the Squirrel. Or Gamba. It's literally Gamba. It's by the same author as Gamba, which, by the way, they misspell. They say in the book the author is Atsushi Saito, but it's Atsuo Saito, and they don't mention that it's the same author as Gamba no Boken. And, like, you look at the show... MiHoYo! Ugh. Hey, finally here. Anything whack so far? Nothing too whack. Endings, anyway. Oh, for all you hold dear, don't watch the special. WEP is great. The internal conflict is resolved by the end, and it was good enough for me. Most anime don't have conclusive endings anyway. WEP's my top 5 out of like 70 anime. I think the special is overhated. because of the recap part. I don't think it's great, but it can lead to something interesting in season 2. If there is a season 2. What do you mean? I doubt there's going to be a season 2. It would be fucking crazy if there was. The only thing I know about WEP is that it played a big hand into why Promised Neverland season 2 was so bad. I guess that season 2 was so bad, I thought, because of the narrative stuff that was going on. The choices because the author wanted to do something different. Like, they were involved with the production and they said they wanted to do something different, I believe. I mean, I think they wanted there to be one with that ending. Whether it will actually happen, who knows. Okay, so, like, just check this out really quickly. I don't know if you've seen Gamba no Boken. Look at this! It's just Gamba! It's just more Gamba! I hate to, like, kind of spoil, like, later on. You know, it's about them kind of going from the city life to, you know, being a whatever. But, like, it's literally Gamba no Boken. Look at that! It looks cute. It's just a movie. It's 84 minutes. Of course, they get fucking attacked by various big animals, including this big fox. It's like, oh yeah, like in Gamba. Literally. And then, yes, the pigeon at the beginning of this movie. All of it's on YouTube, of course, apparently. Nono and Glico. Glico knows something, I don't know. But apparently this guy's voiced by Orson Welles.
Learn some manners. When you want to know someone's name, tell them your name first.
Okay, Glico's my name.
That's better. And I'm Peepo the Pigeon. You're a chipmunk, I presume.
Right. But how did you know that's what I am?
When I was in the carriage...
Yeah, so that's Orson Welles. Oh, the French champagne. Oh, French's finest, you know. That sort of thing. Thought that was funny. But that's just Gamba. And, like, I get it's probably a bit of a nitpick to, like, pick on their, like, oh, compare to this other thing. And maybe Banner the Squirrel really is like that. And then, like, sure. But, like, dude, it's the same author. And it has the same, basic premise. So they're on, like, a journey and shit. And it looks the same. Am I wrong? I don't know. It's just weird. I thought the special actively undid things I liked about the show. Worsening some things in retrograde. Just ignore it. I assume Cloverworks will too if we ever revisit it. So people assume there'll be a season 2 for WEP, but I think the ending was a result of the production issues more than a plan to continue. Neverland got bad at that point in the manga anyways, so I'm not too broken up about it. I seen Gamba, thanks to you and your video on episode 1. Hey, cool. Somehow that video has 10k views. I don't know why. I'm so sorry I never finished that episode review series. I just didn't feel right to me. I didn't think I was all that good at it. And also, it took them forever to finish subbing that show. Like, Senritsu was not consistent, unfortunately, later on. The one thing I liked about WEP's special is one of the characters says, "I'll die." Didn't get a shout out from the show before that point. If I personally had to sacrifice Neverland to get WEP, I'd do it all over again. That's just me. Season 2 of Promised Neverland was bad because of the staff didn't want to make a second season, but the creator insisted because he liked the first one so much. Yeah. Oof. Oh, champagne. Yeah. He tried to condense the major story beats into one season, but as you can see, that was impossible. Yeah, too bad. Never getting peeped. Sorry. That's why I wait. Let's go over some of the odd choices here. Actually, no, I'm sorry. End of Summer was the last one. Let me look that one up. I've blasted through the rest of the thing anyway. I don't mind it. I don't mind spending a little time. Of course. Dokusei. Yeah. So this right here. This is apparently go away, Mal. This is apparently the first visual novel first dating sim anime adaptation. And it's a hentai. Great. Still probably getting peeped. But yeah. 926. The sequel, great. Do I dare click that? Okay, that looks fine. So there's that climax. A sequel to Dokusei. And then there's Dokusei 2, which is Stop It Now, based on a game by Elf. And that one's the 12 episode one. But then this one, there's a Natsu no Owari ni. Oh, sorry, that's the one we already clicked it. This is the Dokusei 2 OVA, which we've clicked on already. There's already, yeah, I can tell they got annoyed because it's a bunch of mixed of things. Bunch of porn, I guess, because that's a porn as well. That looks kind of nice, though. Like, that just kind of looks very polished and stuff. The character designs look decent. Very poorly rated, apparently. Nobody cares. Nobody's going to see this anime, much less read this review. Holy shit. I mean, don't say never. It's only 2021. Interesting. Yeah, so I mean, oh, and that's just ecchi. That's not even a hentai in the same way. So that's interesting. Musical. So that was really, I mean, the history of that's really cool. So, yeah, just wanted to point that out, I guess. Let's see. I think your Gamba video has a lot of views because people mistook it for seasonal anime reaction video. I mean, I guess. It didn't have that many views to start out with, but I think it just gradually got more because people have looked up Gamba, and it's like one of the only videos on it that kind of looks halfway decent. I think that's kind of the reason. Straight 5s on the score. Rare to see an anime get trips in its mouse score. Yeah. I mean, just because a lot of people, it's not even ranked. Like 2,000 people have seen this. Very few people have seen this, so that is interesting. Bit of hidden history here. There's no alternate covers either. I kind of want to look up if it's on Anime Bytes. No, or at least not that particular wording of it. Let's see. What was the Japanese name for it again? Dokusei Natsu no Owari ni. Dokusei Natsu. Ugh, I must have spelled that wrong. Natsu no Owari? Oh no, it doesn't have a... Anime Bytes doesn't even have a copy of it. No wonder nobody's seen it. I just want to make sure. Maybe it's listed as something else. Oh, there it is. Perfect. So there's the 1999 OVA at least. There's some screenshots. I might check that out. I don't know why I was particularly interested in this one. I think it's because of the historical material. They don't have anything else. They don't have any of the other things. They just have the Dokusei 2 special graduation. They don't have anything else. Damn. It's subbed at least. That's surprising, considering how obscure this apparently is. Oh, it's because there was no re-releases on DVD. That's what the Encyclopedia was saying. That's right. It kind of looks nice, though. Like, the designs look pretty mature and stuff like that. It looks pretty well polished and stuff, all things considered. Maybe it's kind of... I don't know. Interesting. I'll have to look more into that. Maybe Nya has something. I just checked. It's up there. Shapes. Oh, what the fuck? Come on, guys. I'm well, the four of you. Bet you're all on a group call and you're like, aha, that was funny, and then they'll leave. As usual, you don't watch these streams. I remember back in the day when there was a Digibro video where it was revealed the first hentai anime was an OVA called Lolicon, when people previously thought it was something else. For some reason, this reminded me of that. I mean, the 2001, this book, they say it's Lolicon, I think. I'm pretty sure they think it was Lolicon first. But maybe, I think the confusion was where people kind of thought, like a Lolicon is part of Cream Lemon or something like that. Like it's one of the episodes of Cream Lemon. There could be confusion in that. But also, I mean, there's the whole pedantic argument of the first time there's sex in animation in Japan. Like there's ones that date back to the 1900s and shit. Totsukuni no Shoujo movie is coming out next month. Get hyped. I've never heard of it. I'm going to order a copy from Japan, but the shipping is going to cost me more than a DVD. Still going to get it though. No, we're vibing. We're still watching. Oh, thanks, guys. Appreciate it. I haven't had shenanigans in the chat like that for a while. But, where were we? End of summer. So those are all the titles that I thought were interesting that I had never heard of before that I want to check out. It's this growing list here of these random titles I've never heard of before, but from reading their article in the Encyclopedia, I'm curious to check it out. Granted, after I'm done clout chasing, after I'm done watching all the stuff I should watch, you know what I mean? As I do. All right, now let's get into the fun part, the odd choices. We respect the hustle. It wasn't credited on Mal, I think, before Digibro added it. Wow. Okay, Emperor of the Plum Planet. Yeah, they make this little snide comment of like, to mark its 35th anniversary, not that anyone cared, but modern producers love their meaningless celebrations. Come on! Why are you gonna be such a buzzkill about that? If it wasn't for these meaningless celebrations, we wouldn't have gotten Megalobox. We wouldn't have gotten a lot of the Gundam stuff, because they celebrate that all the time. The 30th, 40th, 50th, whatever. They always do that. You know? I think this produces great stuff. It's a great excuse to revisit some of these things. Fucking apparently you hadn't heard of this. Plum Planet was a title from 1961 that they hadn't put in the first edition. So they must not have known about it until this remake happened. So it's like, come on, man. Like that's cool that they do that. I don't know why they have to be snide about that. Enchanted Journey, again, it's like, it's just Gamba. Like, it's right there. Why don't you just make that connection? Encouragement of Climb. Is that Mr. Akagi's Freak Show or whatever the English title for the band anime is? I already have the Totsukuni Shoujo OVA. Back then, shipping was third of what it is now. Hi, glad to catch you live. Anything wild so far? Nothing too crazy, really. Nothing that much. But there might be some stuff in the odd choices. This is kind of where you'll find the crazy stuff, I think. So stick around. Good to see you, Alice. Well, that's so mean. Oh, Court, that's not nearly the meanest thing they've said in this book. It's like snide. It's kind of, but mean, like a bit, but like not. Oh, some of these negative reviews, man. I can't pick out like the worst. Some of the stuff that they have here. But a lot of the book oftentimes feels like you're wading through this complete contentment for anime fans and the medium sometimes, which is really sad because they clearly are making this book because they love it, and I don't doubt that they do, but it's because they're doing this really tedious, gargantuan task that frustration kind of bleeds through sometimes. But also apparently they're very deeply cynical, jaded, old people. Like they're both in their 40s, if not 50s, when they wrote this book. Maybe I'm exaggerating, but let's see. Encouragement of Climb. This is another of those everyday anime that celebrates the Japanese hinterland as some sort of unspoiled wilderness, as indeed it may well be for the average couch potato teen. See Silver Spoon. All right. So yeah, that was just another fueled this idea of them having contempt for anime fans. Like, oh, people watching this show are never going to go outside. Right? Like, I'm sure if they had an article about Eurocamp, which they probably won't because the 3rd edition only goes up to 2014. You've no doubt they would have said the same thing. Oh, cute girls. End of Summer. They cut this line from End of Summer. The OVA we were just looking at that like I couldn't totally find a bunch of. Apparently, the 12-episode sequel, it focuses on new boy Makoto, who enjoyed a similar succession of encounters with the traditional female archetypes of anime porn. An older woman, a prissy rich bitch, a foreign girl, a tomboy, a maidenly doormat, jailbait, and, finally, the girl next door. They cut that line for some reason. I don't know why. Was it right? Or was it because it was wrong? Was it a little too mean? I don't know what happened. Or did they, with all this new information that they added to this article, did they have someone else write it? And they just like, no. You know? I'm not sure. I'm unsure what you're referring to. Totsukuni no Shoujo is the girl from the other side in English. Oh, okay. I was referring to a banned anime with a similar title. You mean Midori? Nature Bad. Oh, Shoujo Tsubaki. What even is the point of that? Yeah, I don't know. Okay. It's a weird cut. Engaged the unidentified. Unfortunately, later episodes drag up the tiresome specter of Osana Najimi, romance and drama. I had to look this term up. Osana Najimi. They put this in italics. Why are you putting this term in? And not this rule. If you're not familiar, anybody who's not familiar, they avoid any of these terms like otaku, hentai. I don't know. A lot of otaku-y terms that we use. Tsundere, right? A lot of the Japanese type of terms and stuff. They're avoiding that because they want to have newcomers kind of understand, you know, and not have it be super alienating stuff. Oh, moe, they don't really use that much. They mention moe, of course, but they don't really use it as a common term. They don't use OVA as a term because they're like, oh, that was the whole thing about like, oh, are these really original? Are these really videos? Are these really animated? Like, oh, for fuck's sake. So they don't want to use any of those terms, and yet they're going to use fucking Osana Najimi, which is Japanese for childhood friend. They don't put this in that article. I'm like, I had to look that up separately myself. And I guess if I looked up their romance and drama article, they might explain this term, sure. But like, what's going on? You know what I mean? Like, have some consistency. I don't know what you said, Greg. Yeah, that one. Haven't watched it, only know about it because it was banned in Japan for years. Shoujo Tsubaki's very good. You should check it out. I should rewatch it and give it a grade. I love that one. Maybe they don't want to date jailbait? I haven't heard that term in years, so maybe it became offensive or something. I'm pretty sure they used jailbait in the 3rd edition. Let me look up the word jailbait and see if they use it. Jailbait. No, they use jailbait at least 8 times in the 3rd edition. Unfunny jailbait comedy. With comedy jailbait, death by oral sex. To excuse a jailbait relationship. That is always disturbing. Brains behind the softcore jailbait fantasy Strangelove. Most emphatically isn't, though the older sister jailbait devoted comrades. Incoherent jailbait fantasy. To shocked passersby, jailbaity entertainment and nowhere near as amusing. Fuller-figured women, at least compared to the jailbait of earlier incarnations. They're not shy of using that word, at least in the 3rd edition. Childhood friend. Yeah. Ergo proxy. So we mentioned this in the last stream when someone wanted me to read it. They have Lil Mayer instead of her real name, which is Riel Mayer. The main character's name is Riel Mayer, but they call her Lil Mayer. And then they have this quote. A series of psychological dramas soon reveal an unimaginable truth related to the world outside of the dome. It says here. We don't know, but we can imagine quite a bit. And then in the 3rd edition, if you're not familiar with Encyclopedia, all the titles, if there's an English version that was ever created at some point, it doesn't matter if it's unavailable now, if it was ever brought to the English language, it would have an asterisk next to the title. Ergo Proxy doesn't have an asterisk. But I looked it up, and on Anime News Network, they list like vintage, like they have like previous releases, so you can tell if like like I'm on the page for Gurren Lagann, right? And you can look. They have listings for the art books, but also DVD Region 4 from 2009, DVD Region 2 2014, DVD Region 1. So there was this sub-release from 2008. They have the down to the month actually. Part 1 2009 with the dub, and they have they break down all the different releases of Gurren Lagann, and so you can look. And Ergo Proxy was released in 2006 in English. They could have looked at this. There's a review by Zach Birch for the first volume in 2006 with the right spelling of her name. I don't understand. You know? I don't get it. I don't know what happened there. That was bizarre. And also just like it says here. It's like they're just blatantly saying that they're taking this from the synopsis they got on a website or something. Why? Why? And also, like, why didn't you, like, clearly if this was the 2nd edition where the show was just coming out, sure. But the 3rd edition, you didn't change any of this? Why? It was so weird. It did come out, and it's like, why? Erotic Temptress. Not to be confused with, indeed, Rose of Versailles. With which it shares some look-alike characters and costumes. So I was like, really? Really? Rose of Versailles is a very distinct aesthetic. Are you sure about that? And so I looked up Erotic Temptress. It's a very obvious deliberate hentai. I'm not going to show it on stream, so if you care to, look it up for yourselves and check it out. It's obviously hentai, but it's also very 90s. It doesn't remind me of Rose of Versailles at all. And I'm like, I almost completely dismissed it. I'm like, this is absolutely ridiculous. But I did find one cover. There's multiple covers. And it's because I think one of the episodes, the main character is like a lookalike of Oscar, with the long blonde hair and the French military navy coat. That's it. Like, oh, one of them looks like Oscar. But like, no one's gonna confuse that with fucking Rose of Versailles. Just because it has a reference to Rose of Versailles. Huh? No, I don't. Maybe it's a joke. I just thought it was very bizarre. Escaflowne, again, we talked about that one. Fast-Trace version and stuff. Eureka 7. So I've not seen Eureka 7, but from the surface levels that I've seen through osmosis and people's reviews of it, the common comparison is to Gundam. It's like Gundam. They don't mention Gundam at all in this article. They say like, oh, it's nothing to do with Macros then. And then they're like, then they say fucking, not as remarkable as the fact that the Japanese title manages to look a little like that of Evangelion and a little like that of Ultra 7. Let me, I can look this one up. Do you say it's? Are you saying it looks like the Evangelion logo because it has the E and the N at the end? Are you kidding me? Like, okay. And they're like, oh, the mechs kind of look like Eva too. I'm like, yeah, a little like the head. I can kind of see that. Yeah, sure. But like, nothing else? And they don't have a review for it either. They don't really give their opinion. So like, that was bizarre to me. Anywho. At the logo stuff. Yeah, like, what? Huh? Let me find what they said about, why they mentioned macros. His battle against the oppressive Federation are fought with LFOs, futuristic cars that can transform into giant robots, all based on alien technology that the early colonists found lying around. So nothing to do with macros then. They don't mention Gundam a single time. You know, that's just, maybe it's not the biggest deal, but that was just a little strange to me personally. It's like, you really don't, how the hell does Eureka 7 look anything like Ultraman? The logo, because of the 7, Ultra 7, and a little, the title man's to look a little like that of Evangelion, and a little like that of the Ultraman spin-off, Ultra 7. Let's look up Ultra 7. I didn't even do this last time. I looked at the the other one, but okay. Okay, because here's a yeah. That logo on the right. This thing. I guess because it has 7 in the title. Sure. I thought it was kind of bizarre. Weird. Oof. How the hell? Yeah. Why would they expect it to be like Macros? Because of the his battles against the oppressive Federation are fought with futuristic cars that can transform into giant robots. So like the way that the Eureka's, I don't know what they're called. Eureka's the name of the character, I believe, the blue-haired girl. But the LFOs that they do, it's because they can turn into cars and they turn into robots, similar to the Valkyries from Macros. And it's because of the same alien technology and stuff. It's like, okay. I guess so. But they're not. I bet they're gonna be like, no, but it's Gundam. You know what I mean? Because they're gonna be like, we can't reference every show. We can't be knowledgeable at every show. And I'm like, yeah, but Gundam, it's right there. You know? I don't know. It's not like some obscure mecha or something I'm saying. I'm talking about the 9th highest grossing media franchise of all time. I don't know. Maybe I'm just dwelling on that too much. The logos look the same because they all use katakana. Well, yeah, exactly. It's like, I can't remember transforming stuff in Eureka. Yeah? I thought they do. I mean, I saw the OP. I'm not playing the OP. I'll get fucking copyrights. I'll get fucking struck again. Fucking video shit. It gets me so often. It's more sensitive streaming. Small nitpick, but Ultra 7 is a sequel series, not a spin-off. Oh. Well, you can't expect them to know about tokusatsu. Okay. Where did my voice go? Sheesh. Either I'm completely forgetting Eureka 7 or that car stuff just didn't happen. Oh. It's in the first OP. I noticed it when you play the first OP, and I'll do it now, like, on my... Not showing you guys. Maybe I'll give, like, a screenshot. But... Oh! Da, 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 da. I really gotta see Eureka. That's another title I'm watching this year, by the way. Okay, here. This thing. I'm not showing you the full footage. That thing. It's a car. I'm showing visuals anyway. And then look, it turns into, so it's like a Valkyrie. It's like Macros. Yeah, oh yeah, you know? I I can kind of see it, but it's still like funny that they mentioned Macros and Evangelion and not Gundam. It's just that they haven't seen the show. Is all. I can't help seeing them in some room putting tax it through photos, being like, the sevens, they must connect. What do they mean? No, it's because they needed it's that trope, right, where they have to relate other names to each other, like, oh, what's Macros? And they'll flip to another part of the encyclopedia. So in just doing that, that's why. Fun fact, the capsules used to summon the kaiju in Ultra 7 were the direct inspiration of the Pokeballs. Oh, nice! The robots in Eureka 7 kind of look like cars as they drive out of the landing bay. It's not relevant to the show at all. Oh. So it's not like Valkyries, where, like, sometimes there's plane combat, and so, like, sometimes they use them as fighter jets, and then sometimes they transform into the Valkyries, and Valkyries also have that kind of the mid stage where they're part jet, but they have the arms and legs, but they're not full Valkyries yet. That's interesting. Oh yeah, that only happens when they launch. Yeah. A side note: the only good Eureka 7 game is the PS3 game. Oh. Yeah, it's completely ancillary, almost an aesthetic. Yeah, they probably watched the OP and they're like, oh, it's Macros. Oh right, that did happen. I wish I liked Eureka more than I did. I thought it was just okay. Is what it is. I think I'll probably really like it. Evangelion. Yes, so let's finally talk about Evangelion. At the turn of the... Okay. Skip the... Okay, I do have to read the synopsis a little bit, because there's something about the... So, Evangelion, there's a part here with Rei, the original test pilot, critically... Also, just, I don't know. There was something kind of alien about this description of Evangelion. Like, it is correct, from what I can gather or recall, but it's just not how I would describe it, right? It's not like the first episode type of thing. I don't know. It's just, if you removed the title, I don't know. So here's what they did. This is their synopsis for Evangelion. I'm not saying it's wrong. It's just strange. At the turn of the millennium, a meteorite strike on Antarctica wipes out half of Earth's population. The Nerve Project fights the real danger, aliens called the Angels, who are sending bioengineered weapons to destroy the rest of humanity. The experimental Evangelion Project fights the outsized invaders with giant cybernetic organisms, but only children born after the Antarctica incident can pilot the machines. With Rei, the original test pilot, critically ill after an accident, head scientist Gendo Ikari summons his estranged son, Shinji, to take the first mission. Shinji is taken in by the sisterly Misato, an alcoholic burnout with a passionate hatred for the Angels, and the arrival of the hot-headed pilot Asuka Langley creates a dysfunctional surrogate family. I guess, yeah. My little one issue was kind of like, huh? I kind of raised an eyebrow. Was describing Misato as sisterly. Alcoholic burnout is correct. With a passionate hatred for the Angels? I mean, she has about as much hatred as the rest of them. It's not like a defining trait of hers, is it? Am I wrong? That just seems strange to me, calling it like that. Otherwise, it seemed fine, but it was just sort of like, why wouldn't you start with Shinji, right? Even if the robots could transform, I get why they're always in the robot form. Surfing robots is cool. The beginning is mediocre, but it picks up the halfway point. Honestly, I only gave it a second chance because Adult Swim re-aired it. Yeah, that description is technically accurate, but it really doesn't feel how correct to how the show is. Yeah, you know what I mean? It just feels off. With this novel excuse for young, audience-friendly protagonists and giant fighting robots, Gainax incorporates many of its favorite staples from classic anime and monster movies. So, like, what are you talking about? With the novel excuse for young, audience-friendly protagonists? Shinji? Like, arguably the most divisive main character I've ever heard about in an anime before? I mean, there's maybe some other more But like, I imagine kind of the make or break for this show is how much you relate or, like, not relate, but like kind of enjoy Shinji as a character. That seems to make or break a lot of people. That's a very divisive character. What do they mean by with this novel excuse for young audience-friendly protagonists and giant fighting robots? Are they talking about Asuka too? Asuka and Rei? I mean, yeah, they're popular, sure. Like, I don't think that many people have problems with those characters as much as Shinji. But that's just kind of strange to me personally. That description sounds very much like they haven't seen the show. Oh, they definitely have. They have their opinion about it. But, like, I think it's, like, yeah, very clinical. Knowing your taste, I'm sure you'd adore Eureka 7. Just let us know if you'd end up finding the point of that infamous soccer episode. Even I can't stomach that one. Oh, that sounds like fun. I like that. Diversions sound like fun. I did see all of Eureka. Maybe I'll rewatch it someday. How's the new trilogy thing panning out? Audience-friendly protagonist? Huh? Haven't seen it. I only seen the original because Adult Swim aired it twice. I'm waiting for I'd probably wait for the movies to finish before watching any of them. My main problem with Eureka was the dialogue. I did watch it dubbed, but I don't think the sub would change that much for me. I think Shinji is really popular with teens who are the target demographic, like us. I mean, I certainly like Shinji, but that's a very divisive character. So I just thought that was strange, calling it that. Yeah, so there's no mention of Nadia in this article. A deeply personal psychological odyssey that allowed Anno to remake his earlier Gunbuster. Remake Gunbuster? Alright. I kind of thought they were two different things personally, but sure. At a slower pace, Eva similarly replayed the Pacific War from the Japanese point of view, specifically the apocalyptic final events. Cosmetic use of Western religious imagery, such as angel weaponry exploding in cruciform patterns, may appear to suggest that Western beliefs themselves are an alien invasion, but this owes more to Anno's own readings in Jungian, like Carl Jung maybe? Jungian? Psychology, yeah, Carl Jung psychology, and archetypes as he coped his own readings in Jungian psychology and archetypes as he coped with creative doldrums post-Gunbuster. I mean, when they say post-Gunbuster, maybe they're talking about Nadia, but it makes it sound like Gunbuster was what gave him the creative doldrums, and maybe that's true too? There's a lot of just like Anno misquoting and like updating like fucking, I didn't even know that the death threats in End of Ava weren't real. I didn't know that, personally. You know what I mean? I like so much misinformation and sort of like misunderstandings about his shit. It's like, what? I can kind of see what they mean. I think Shinji's a really well done character, not just a character that's easily likable. Just not a character that's easily likable, yeah. Yeah, Young Yin. I feel like Shinji is an incredibly misunderstood character. He's not meant to be Goku. Oh, yeah. Yeah. But people still have problems with him. Like Gunbuster, Ava also piles on the parodies, beginning with its very title, which is a sly reference to the proclamation of a new century, a 1981 publicity event for the Gundam movies, now widely regarded by Japanese fandom as the tipping point that marked the beginning of the otaku era. Within the series itself, there are multiple references to fan-favorite shows, particularly from Jerry Anderson, with Hidden Fortresses launching the super weapons and uniforms lifted from Anderson's live-action UFO. It also features innovative casting. This was annoying. 2 concluding episodes that were glorified radio plays. That's annoying. However, Gunbuster similarly ended with a montage of stills rather than the promised climactic battle, leading some to suggest Anno had always planned it this way. What? There's multiple things in that statement I've never heard of before. I know exactly what scene they're talking about with the Gunbuster ended with a montage of stills. In so like, there's one sequence There's one sequence where it's a bunch of stills, and that's very artfully done, all things considered. But there's so much more in that episode, and it's gorgeously animated episode. It is not like the final episodes of Evangelion at all. And that also discredits kind of the final stuff in Evangelion, which are really artfully done. Like, yeah, a lot of it is kind of like recycled footage and like some text and things like that. But like, that is really artful and experimental. Glorified radio plays is really insulting, in my opinion, to those last two episodes. Ultimately, however, Eva ended in a series of disappointments. Gainax was criticized for later scenes broadcast without network approval, indirectly causing the more censorious climate that hurt Cowboy Bebop. Later episodes ran visibly low on funds, with overlong pauses to stretch the animation budget, and two concluding episodes that were glorified radio plays. Rumors abounded that Gainax had run out of money and/or time, and that the final chapters were thrown together in just 2 weeks, when Anno's hard-hitting original finale was disallowed. However, Gunbuster similarly ended with a montage of stills rather than the promised climactic battle. There was a promised climax. I don't know what fucking OVA they were watching. Leading some to suggest Anno had always planned it this way, and that the violent nature of the theatrical sequels reflected his annoyance that his more cerebral original ending was unappreciated by the audience. And then they keep going with this, with like that, I don't know, they just really didn't like the fact that they end with movies similar to Ideon, which is another influence of his that they don't seem to mention. A succession of Eva movies followed, seemingly designed to leech the last cash and goodwill from remaining fans. An audio drama joked that having saved the world, the Eva cast would consider placing it in fake peril to get their old jobs back. Though the gag was ironically close to the mark. The promised real finale turned out to be a double bill. Death and Rebirth, a recap of the first 24 episodes, and with the first reel of the true ending. Audience patience was tested a second time with Death True 2, which added tantalizing scraps of extra footage, including the moment of second impact, and bonus sequences that also appeared in the Japanese but not US video releases of the TV episodes. The genuine movie edition, End of Evangelion, was a truly shocking apocalypse, taking the themes of the original to their logical conclusion, presented as the two missing episodes that should have closed the series in the first place. These multiple endings have since been repackaged in another edition revival of Evangelion. Kind of a weird discussion on that one, in my opinion. I remember when I was 14, Shinji was literally me. I still think he's a good protagonist. I don't relate to him. That was me with Ed and Al from FMA. That statement about Gunbuster just isn't true. It's true to a point. It's true to a point. There is a sequence where they're having the final battle, and it is a bunch of stills. But like, that's one moment out of this really gorgeous, 30-minute episode. What do they think of Gunbuster overall? We can find that out. I could just look up at the first edition, actually. Gunb. They say a lot. But let me read the rest of the chat. I kind of expected their take on the last two episodes. Yeah, me too. Technically, I guess you're right. Gunbuster was black and white, not still. Same with Nadia and Ava. What do they think of Gunbuster? Well, I hated the Ava ending as an adolescent, but nowadays I see it as them making the best of a bad situation. That also isn't true. The last two episodes were definitely not planned to be that way. End of Ava is the original ending Anno had planned, and outside of showing those death threats on screen, it's pretty much how he intended the series to end. But the Ava ending has so many memorable scenes, no matter how it was intended. I think it came out well. I know. It's an artfully done show either way. Let me find out what they say about the last episode here. I'm just kind of skimming through, because it's a fairly sizable article. They fucking give away the entire plot. Oh my god, they just described the entire fucking plot to Gunbuster. Jeez Louise. I think they like it though. At least it seems that way. Loving pastiche of the anime serials of its creators' formative years, from the marital heroes and the Star Blazers to Gigantor. It is the ultimate video anime, and though outlines still existed for a full 26-episode series, the story seems perfectly suited to its humble 3-hour running time. Sadly, it never quite reached its potential abroad. Yeah, they don't mention the 6th episode at all. About it being in black and white and shit. Yeah, I don't know why. I don't know why they mentioned that. That was strange. In 2000... Okay, so this is the 2001 edition says this. Succession of Eva movies followed, seemingly designed to lead to the last cash and goodwill for remaining fans. Yeah, I just thought that was so strange. Because, like, that's not from the 3rd edition, where, like, the rebuilds happened, where that seems... You would think that's what they're talking about. But now they're talking about, like, the rebuild, like, not the rebuild, Death and Rebirth and then End of Evangelion. It's like, not really. It's literally the exact same thing as Ideon, where Ideon released a Contact, which was a recap of the first 30-something episodes, and then To Be Invoked, which was the end of the show, which was the intended ending of the show if they hadn't gotten canceled prematurely. And then finally, Ice Shield 21. A bit of a nitpick, kind of small. Not to actually this. Ice Shield 21, they say they put the ice shield on him and hide his identity from the rival schools. And it's like, yeah, it is from the rival schools in a way, but it's less for that and more for the rival clubs because he's such a fast runner. They don't want him to join other teams because they don't mention this in their article on Ice Shield 21. But the football team, like, doesn't have any members. So they need members. And so, like, they have to borrow school classmates who are usually in other teams, and they just kind of, like, they sub in, basically, in order to make a full football team. And that's what they have to do early on. And so Senna, the main character, is such a super fast runner, he would be very valuable in any of the sports. And so they were like, no, you're going to be in the football team because we need you here. We need a fast runner. So that was a bit of a, actually kind of, I know it's a bit of a nitpick. And I'm not going to do that for every of these articles because I haven't seen every anime, but I have seen Ice Shield 21. So I can mention that. Maybe the Gunbuster and Ava articles were written by different people. It's possible. There's no way to tell unless they confirm it. At the end of the day, though, they do co-sign to both both authors co-sign. They put their name on this book for every article they put in here, so they approve it in some way or another. Maybe they don't fully agree with it, but I feel like if they were making if there was something genuinely they would want to change or something, they would talk it out potentially, I would assume. Or maybe I don't know how that's how it works. Maybe it wasn't. Yeah. So that about does it. Not too many new odd observation things. Yeah. Just I can finally almost not deal with this gap here. Let me know if there's an article you guys want me to read fully. Perhaps Gunbuster or whatever you guys want. I can't fully tell if they liked Ava or not. That's why I said they were mixed. It's deeply personal, psychological odyssey, innovative casting. They complimented a lot, but it's ultimately ended in a series of disappointments. Really not happy with how it ended there. Which I guess is okay. I guess it's fair. Whoo! Ugh. I have such terrible posture when I do these things. Probably not. No, they give it credit where it's due. But you know, I bet if I looked up Evangelion in 3rd edition and you control F it, you can search all the times they've name drop Evangelion and you can try to tell. I think they're bothered by its popularity. I think they're more bothered by how prevalent it was, like systemic almost. There are 156 results in the 3rd edition of the Encyclopedia. And I have to go through all of them to really figure that out. But just from that article alone, it seems fairly whatever. They don't even give their opinion on the rebuilds either. They just say, oh, it's a little different here and there. I feel like the anime they do like, you can count on one hand. No, I mean, I'm giving them credit where it's due, man. This is all the positive ones. This is all the anime they like. And this is all the ones that they don't like. Which it may be a little lot, may be a bit more, but maybe a bit less. And the mixed ones has a fair deal of them too. But in terms of they can like on one hand, no, you can do. They like plenty of anime. I will give them that. They have a lot of positively glowing ones too. I do want to kind of separate those and really figure out I've always had the idea of trying to figure out their top 10, or try to figure out like a collage of their favorite anime just from their entries on the encyclopedia. You could pick like the Anime Encyclopedia's collage, like a 6x6 of their favorite anime. Oh, you mean the whole? On the whole, it's popular, so now it sucks crap. Oh yeah. Is Diebuster in the same article as Gunbuster? I doubt it. Let's find out. It's definitely not in the first edition. Diebuster. No, it is. It is in the same article as Gunbuster. Yeah. There is. Gainax chose to mark the company's 20th anniversary with Kazuya Suramaki's 6-part video series Aim for the Top 2, focusing on Nono, a hapless waitress on Earth who was co-opted into a psychic anti-alien squadron called the Topless. As with the original, early episodes appear trite and shallow. Okay, jeez. Only to take a turn toward... Also, what the fuck? Like the original? As with the original, early episodes appear trite and shallow. What the fuck? First episode of Gunbuster's amazing! Only to take a turn toward the dramatic and gripping later on, most notably in a 4th episode storyboarded by Hideaki Anno himself. The series was then screened on Japanese TV after Gainax's more famous follow-up, released on Japanese DVD in 2000, including the new science lessons, and ultimately remastered and re-released on Japanese DVD in 2004. That's all they say. I guess they did mention it. In a way. How do they compare Gunbuster, Diebuster? They don't really compare. They just say it exists. That's all they say about Diebuster. Maybe they mentioned Diebuster elsewhere. Nope. There is literally one search result in the entire encyclopedia, and it's here, and it's right here. Diebuster. They say, aim for the top 2, aka Diebuster 2004. That's it. Wait, was she on Earth? I don't know. It's been a while since I've seen it. Kind of went in one ear out the other for me, unfortunately. I didn't love Diebuster. Actually, wait a minute. I think I gave it a great. I don't remember. No, I gave it a good. And then Gunbuster, I also gave it a good. Because I think I was wrestling with that. I think I remember at the time when I watched Diebuster, I'm like, this is as good as the first one. I felt like, okay, this is as good as the first one. I have to update my One Piece I'm not on episode 139. I'm on 151, baby. Woo! Still need to watch both. It's good. I remember Dive Buster started on Mars. Am I wrong? I don't know. Perchance. Perchance you're right. Got about 9 minutes left. Heck yeah, we crushed that. Yeah, so we're through E now. E. So next week is all of F. Because based on my schedule, I said that I was going to do E and F in February. Based on the number of pages. What did you think of Arlong Park? I liked it. I liked it as much as Baratier, though. All of East Blue was great. I pretty much liked every single arc. It definitely, like, romance... Like, the first couple things and Romance Dawn were good. Enjoyed. You could tell that Syrup Island was really when we were starting to get up on the next... Alright, we're doing arcs now. Here's the character, here's the bad guy, here's the arc kind of thing. Baratier was another step up. I loved that one. And then Arlong Park was really good. I do think it was pretty much as good as Baratier, in my opinion. I actually really like Baratier a lot. But Arlong was great. And then Alabasta was really good. Drum Island was really good. One Piece is very good. I've not had any qualms with it, pretty much. Oh my god, fucking Blackbeard is the best. I loved his introduction. I knew who he was, because like you don't find out who he is right away. And like, but I knew about that scene of him like, oh, men's dreams never die or whatever, or have no end. But I didn't know the context or where that comes from. And so I was waiting for that scene. I actually thought it was going to happen in Loketown, and it didn't. And then it's like, I was like, oh, I feel like, oh, this is kind of like a shady area. Like Mocktown is where it happens before Skypiea. And I'm like, oh, I think this might be where he might show up. And I didn't connect that, like those other dudes that were like the crazy sniper guy and the guy on the horse. I didn't realize those were part of his crew. But the minute I see his back next to Luffy, he's kind of off screen a little bit. The minute I saw, I was like, oh my god, it's him. Holy shit, right? And I knew about him. And the fact that Luffy has an immediate rivalry with him, where he's just like, and he actually is like, oh, this pie tastes great, this pie tastes bad, and then they get the same drink, and like they have opposite opinions, and so they're diametrically opposed, and that you've never seen that in One Piece so far, at least to my knowledge. Luffy has either ignored people, liked people, or just like was told that they're bad, like Crocodile, for example. Like he heard about Crocodile and like I just have to beat up Crocodile before he even met him. But he was completely unprovoked, and no other character was in like this kind of rough area, and he just kind of goes off against this other guy, and like, who is this guy, right? And I know I get it, right? And I'm like, oh my god, that's amazing. But it contrasts a lot more with when Bellamy comes in, who is a complete prick, and Luffy pays no attention to him. He doesn't give a shit. And Bellamy like smashes his head in the thing, you know? And then, Luffy plays it totally cool. And, Bellamy does his thing and kind of dunks on him and everything like that. And they don't fight him. They get their shit kicked in or whatever. And they walk out. And I love that after all of that, and that Blackbeard is diametrically opposed to Luffy, Blackbeard just is like, oh yeah, he's full of shit. Like that Skypiea exists. Yeah, you're not wrong. The fucking pirate's dream, like, that guy's full of shit. And he's a pirate. He's a full fucking fledged pirate. And I think with, like, Luffy, he's been in positions where he's been kind of the authority on pirates almost. Like, he's so much of a, like, loves pirates, knows what understands it in his bones, really. And is put in positions where he's kind of correcting people, almost, other pirates, on, like, how to act, really. And try to be like, the people he looks up to. But, like, Blackbeard's correct here. And so like Luffy doesn't even say anything, and he's just stone cold, you know, and because they're diametrically like Luffy just has that instinct that he's you know, that he's a bad guy and that he's strong. Like Luffy and Zoro, my roommate was saying that like Luffy and Zoro can tell that Blackbeard is super strong and you can't mess we shouldn't mess with him. I love that. I love their fucking their dynamics so fucking much, and you can tell from the directing and the way that was implemented that that's going to be very important. I don't know how many other times Luffy ever meets Blackbeard. I know at least one other time they're going to be in the same place. I know about that. I'm not going to say anything. Don't spoil anything in the comments. But I don't know how more often Blackbeard shows up or his, you know. But I also love that Blackbeard is, you know, he's obviously this kind of a big name and seems like going to be a big deal, but he's put it in a position similar to Luffy where he's not a big name yet. He's still working his way up. And we're going to see him grow and evolve. Maybe not all, not like there's no arc centered on him to my knowledge, but like we're going to see him rise up the ranks the similar way of Luffy does in his own way. I love that. So I haven't been reading the chat. Yes, I liked Arlong. I need to rewatch them both. The only parts I can really remember are the ending to Gunbuster and the OP to Diebuster. Yeah. I've rewatched Gunbuster once and it's good. I have to rewatch Diebuster though. I like Diebuster more, but Gunbuster's awesome. It'll be interesting to hear their thoughts on Full Metal Alchemist in the edition before Brotherhood happens. Yeah. No. I don't know what that is. That would be in the second edition. Because this is the first edition from 2001. FMA doesn't show up here. 2003. So this, I don't know. I'd have to look at the second edition, which I don't have access to. And I'm not going that far. I'm not that obsessive of looking at all the comparisons and shit. Although you're right, there could be some interesting stuff there. I remember when I got 150 episodes into One Piece. Yeah, that's where I'm at. 151, 150. I'd watched 50 episodes from morning to evening. Watching most of Alabasta was great. Oh, yeah. Oh, I've been binging it like 20 episodes at a time. It's crazy. Wait until you get to Water 7. I'm looking forward to Water 7. I have a feeling of what that one's about. I don't know anything about Enies Lobby, though. I think that one is it's either Thriller Bark or Enies that's like kind of spooky or something. Heck yeah, One Piece goated. Water 7, that perhaps related to Eureka 7 or Ultra 7? Yeah. I feel like I'm one of the few people who like both FMAs equally. Same, I do too. And that's more on the idea of like I can't choose between the two of them, so I don't. FMA's okay. There's no definitive version for me, so it's hard for me to like the show at all, personally. Not that I don't like it. It's a good show. I just don't have any personal attachment to it whatsoever because two versions exist and I can't choose. Also, can you read Emma's of Victorian Romance? I just started watching it. Yeah, they loved that one. It's going to be hitting 2 hours, but I will allow it to go longer because I ranted about One Piece and I loved it. But man, if I was gonna make a video about One Piece, I definitely would want to wait for it to be finished so that I could talk about Luffy versus Blackbeard, their character day. I would really. That's the thing I'm single most fascinated about in the entire show so far. I absolutely love that. No, it's a One Piece arc. I like the first half of OG Full Metal more than Brotherhood. I also hate the comedy in Boho, probably because of the thicker line work. Blackbeard fight was what got me into One Piece, as that was the first fight scene dubbed by Funimation that aired on Cartoon Network. Oh, wow. I don't know what you mean by Blackbeard fight, because he hasn't fought any. He's only, Blackbeard's only smashed Bellamy's number 2 guy in the ground. That's the only time he's fought so far. But he's shown up, so that's about it. I don't know who I have a feeling who he fights because, you know, it's the person looking for him. That scene lives in my head rent free. Oh yeah, it's a wonderful scene. Not even just the climax of like the thing he says and the shot there, but everything surrounding it. It's unbelievable. I bro, I'm blue hurt, but I regret not getting OV when I was out of print. Getting very nostalgic hearing about One Piece early arcs. Yeah, I bet. I bet that must be crazy hearing it for fucking, cause however long you've been following it, you know, because it's been going for so long. Yeah, I feel like Brotherhood's comedy gets too over the top for such a serious series. There aren't many things that put a smile on my face as big as hearing new One Piece fans experiencing all the great scenes for the first time. I know. It's sort of the thing, right? And I already can tell that I'm going to feel the same way when I hear about other people getting into One Piece and stuff. And they get to certain scenes and shit. Absolutely. I was feeling multiple times watching the show so far as a whole that it's a show that I want to rewatch a couple times because it's just so fun. It's not just like good on a Shonen Jump sort of level, but it's a really funny show. It's really funny. I don't know why people don't notice how, like, mention how fucking fun it is. It's so fun. Oh my god, it's hilarious and like sharp and like it's the whole package. It's the whole package. It's unreal. Just go back talking about One Piece? Yeah, pretty much. I meant the Bellamy fight. Oh yeah, that was cool too. That was a cool moment. I was happy about that. I just like the drama, kind of like the stuff where I love the idea that Nami was like, all right, you two, don't fight. Don't pick any fucking fights in here. We can't handle that right now. We're just like, don't have time for that. And they're like, okay, yeah, whatever. And then Bellamy like disrespects Luffy and Zoro and stuff, and she's like, "We'll fight back." And Luffy's like, "Hey Zoro, don't fight these guys, whatever you do." And it's like, oh, I love that. It's so good. Oh man. Frankenstein and watch 03 first half. No, just whatever. Fuck FMA, dude. Boring. No, I'm sorry. It's a field both series that there's both these great. That's what I mean. I can't choose between the two of them. They both have good things, and you can't choose. Although I definitely prefer, I'm gonna lean more towards 03 because it's the underdog, kind of the black sheep and stuff. So that's just how I roll. I remember the People's Dream Will Never Die scene followed by the revelation of who Blackbeard was blew my mind as a kid. Oh yeah, no, that's the best shit because they don't do that for multiple episodes. You just see that as some guy, you know, you just kind of see it, but like the way it's staged and framed, you're like, oh, there's something about that guy. Like you have a hunch, and then the way they reveal it with the crew and like, boom, with Teach and Blackbeard and stuff. It's like, oh shit, you know, that's cool. But I had known I've consumed a lot of it through osmosis. I know who the 4 Yonko are, including Blackbeard. Although I just don't know how it shakes out at that way, because like I'm assuming that Whitebeard is currently a Yonko, and the thing that happens to him in Marineford, which I'm familiar with, somebody takes his place, type of thing. He's been a character that I get extremely excited to see ever since. Oh yeah, me too. I cannot wait for more appearances from him. I really hope he's the final bad guy. I know people are like, I don't know who it's gonna be. We're not sure what there's a lot of there's a lot of stuff it could be or whatever. I'm excited. I'm sure Oda's gonna kill it, but I really hope it's Blackbeard. I really hope that like Blackbeard's kind of like the ultimate final guy standing between him and One Piece. So it's not even that Luffy wants One Piece that much. Like he's not really being like, oh, I want One Piece. He just wants to be the king of the pirates, you know. And this is kind of the best validator to do that, is to find One Piece. But it doesn't talk about saying to find. None of them do. None of them really care that much about finding One Piece that much. They kind of mention it here and there, but like, you know, people only remember the One Piece because it's the name of the show. That's pretty much it. That bar scene is the moment I saw the real One Piece for the first time. Yeah, for real. Where it's like, oh, this is endgame shit. Oh, this is where it's leading up to, kind of deal. It was so cool. James, I think you're having a read the manga moment. Absolutely not. Not reading it. Nope. I genuinely feel that scene had more impact in the anime than the manga. Probably. I could tell that there's something about the lighting choices, the music choice, the voice acting. Everything was firing on fucking all cylinders in that scene. I think it will most likely be Blackbeard. I just hope it would. You know, if it doesn't, then sure, you know, we'll see what it does, but that would be my hope. Once you catch up on One Piece, you should check out Pirate Warriors 3 and 4, really awesome pair of beat-em-ups. I guess, I'm not much of a gamer. I'm caught up on the One Piece manga, but I should watch the anime one day. It's great. Anime's very good. I know people, I honestly, I see it now, where like, I get recommended clips of the newest episodes and stuff, and I watch them because I'm an idiot. I'm a fucking idiot. But like, people are like, oh, the Toei managed to stretch a whole minute out of one panel. I'm like, I'm not cursed with that knowledge. The thing is, I think people are frustrated with the anime for people who have read the manga, which is almost everybody that's caught up. It makes sense, right? I can imagine when I get caught up, I'm going to want to read a bit of the manga too. I'm going to avoid that. I'm going to completely avoid that situation because I do not want this fucking brainworm in my head saying, well, you know, the manga did this kind of quick, or whatever. They're two different entities. We should not treat them the same. Different things altogether. Not comparison. Fuck that. Not dealing with it. Not reading it. I'm sure he's great. I'm sure the manga's fantastic. It is Oda after all, and it seems like a fairly close adaptation anyway. So, but no, forget it. The early One Piece is amazingly funny. The voice acting will always get me. There were some very good observations, and will abstain from spoiling you. Yeah, I did watch the G8 arc though. Oh yeah, I'm definitely watching G8. I meant because prior to Skypiea, the only version of One Piece readily available was the Four Kids disaster. Yeah, it makes you wonder how they got away. How did they adapt Alabasta? That's crazy to me. I'm like, they just did it, you know? Some of these, it's like you can't really censor or do anything different with that. It's like, okay, you just did it. It's really interesting. I want to consume both the anime and manga someday, but I don't know which one I'll do first. The thing is, right? I think if you do the manga first, you're gonna feel the pace of the anime. It's just gonna be more noticeable because you're gonna know where the story goes, and you just want it to get there. I think the big issue that the fans are having with when they're reading the manga and they're watching the animes, they get hung up on just get to the thing, get to the fight, get to the end of the, so we can do something. Wano's so long. Don't worry, it's all One Piece, dude. One Piece is great. You kidding? 1,000 episodes of this shit? Thank God. Thank you. I'll take it. Are you kidding? Hell yeah. I'm over the moon that this is the show, this is the series that is this long. This is the longest. I think at this point, isn't it? No, it's not. You can't say that. What is it called? Shit. Not Kodacha. Fucking the police one. The police one that went for fucking 200 volumes in Shonen Jump. That's the longest Shonen Jump title. But One Piece is second, I think. You know? Easily. It's like, thank God this one is 100 volumes. Thank God this one's 1,000 episodes. Because it's fucking fun. It's the whole package. It's great adventure. It's great comedy. It's good action. I would say the fights are kind of the bottom 3 reason I watch it. I don't really... Like, the fights are decent, you know? It's not Naruto, you know? And that's fine. But, like, god damn. I will clip that One Piece is amazing bit. Thank you. That'd be great. Like, thank God it's 1,000 episodes, you know? I forget where I'll probably end up waiting until we have confirmation it's ending and be forced to go through Blitz through the manga so I don't get spoiled. That's why I'm doing it now. That was why I'm doing it. I felt like, okay, 1,000 episodes, I'll just start it. Well, the reason now was because Bleach was 2 years ago, and I finished Bleach in that year, and then I was like, I may as well start Naruto, and I did Naruto 2 episodes a day for a whole year, and so now I was just like, well, I guess I'll do One Piece, right? That's the only reason I started right now. But I totally get where you're coming, and I think you can get through it pretty quick. But you're right. You want to be there when the show ends. You know for a fact this ending is going to be like the fact that Oda has known what the ending is for so long, right? Like he's had this plan in advance. You know that shit's going to be like an Ashino-jo type ending. I kind of suspect it. I kind of suspect that like the idea of an early One Piece where Luffy is just like, are you ready? Are you prepared to die or to put your life on the line? I do kind of expect him to die at the end of the show, at the end of the series. That would be a fucking, that, you know, like kind of an Ashino-jo type ending. That would be fucking insane. I don't know how maybe it'll be controversial, perhaps. Maybe, and obviously this is probably a take that people have heard before. Because this show's been around for 20 years and shit. But you know you're going to want to be there. Because you're going to find out about it one way or another of how what One Piece is. If it's friendship we made along the way, like, hell yeah. Actually, hell yeah. Like, then you don't have to worry about it. Because it really, One Piece is such a non-issue for the majority of the show. Really. Every single conflict doesn't have to do with One Piece. They're just going through the grand line to get to the end of it. The way that the world works is interesting in that way. They're not really trying to find One Piece. They're really just doing their thing. I just love how, like, Alabasta ends, and they're just kind of doing their thing, going to the islands and stuff, and then a ship falls from on top of them, and then that just starts Skypiea. We're like, what was that? Oh, it's this. Oh, it's this map. Oh, there's an island in the sky. Oh, no, there's not. And, you know, and they just go, man. They just exist, and they're like the fucking compass going through that. Like, Luffy wants to go to the Sky Island. They could have skipped Skypiea. They could have, because they were like, oh, it's pointing upwards. I don't know. I'm sorry I'm still talking about One Piece and I haven't read Emma. Let me do that right now so I can not to cut off the One Piece discussion. I like the One Piece discussion. Emma is a housemaid in late 19th century England, devoted to her employer, Kelly Stonar, a retired governess. Mrs. Stonar was unable to stay idle, and on her retirement took in Emma, who was a homeless beggar girl, teaching her reading, writing, and the ways of polite society as an experiment in education. Emma's life is thrown into turmoil when the house is visited by William Jones, a handsome man who was once one of Kelly's pupils. What began as a simple courtesy call takes on new meaning as William and Emma feel an instant attraction. Although the path to true love is unlikely to be smooth, William is a member of one of the wealthiest merchant families in England, whereas Emma is a mere maid. As such, the couple might as well be from different worlds, and that's before William's friend Hakim, a bona fide Indian prince, hello Black Butler, they didn't say that, I'm saying that, a bona fide Indian prince arrives and falls for Emma himself. In Season 2, Emma finds employment with the Mulders, an expatriate German merchant family who live in Haworth, West Yorkshire, former home of the Bronte sisters. Emma is a gorgeous, refreshing anime for the 21st century, a Victorian Cinderella invested with a truly rare quality. The people who made it actually seem to like what they're doing. Working with Kaoru Mori's beautifully observed manga from Comic Beam, the sights and sounds of the 19th century England are lovingly recreated in a quiet, understated drama that recalls Little Princess and the better productions of World Masterpiece Theater. At a time when the word maid in an anime synopsis normally heralds something like Maids in Dream or Another Lady Innocent, Emma is a sign that while corporate raiders and carpetbaggers are doing everything they can to ruin the medium, anime still has rare gems that can surprise and entertain. It is also another example of the curious Japanese love affair with Englishness, most notable in recent years in Steam Boy and Hercule Poirot and Miss Marple. Note that in a piece of period stunt casting, lead actress Yumi Toma was also the Japanese voice for Kate Winslet in Titanic. Season 2 introduced an episode 0, a recap episode for Season 1, which may have been a TV special or a direct-to-video release. Yeah, cool. Let me read the chat some more. I got frustrated when the anime around episode 600, so I dropped it and restarted with manga. And that's fair, mostly because the pacing was pretty bad around that point, even as an anime only. Sure, and that's totally fair. I think for me, the fact that I'm committed to watching the whole thing, and I made that, I'm watching 3 episodes a day for a whole year to get caught up. I think if I changed the manga personally, I would lose that motivation really quick, and I wouldn't want that personally. But my roommate is in a similar position where he thinks if he's fully willing to hop into the manga if he doesn't like the anime anymore, if he doesn't like, the pacing and stuff like that, then he'll switch. But for now, he's skipping the filler and watching at the same pace that I am. But I'm watching all of it, all the filler, and just gunning straight through. But that's fair if you do as well. Toei rarely gives a crap about their series nowadays. They always have such stiff animation and never let the animators just do their own thing. Are you talking about Toei from like 10 years ago? I think Toei now looks fantastic. Like the Precure always looks fantastic. Fucking One Piece has looked immaculate for 3 straight years. It's one of the reasons I'm super excited to watch the anime, because it looks gorgeous. Fucking Broly looked great, and I know they're doing the CG thing with Dragon Ball, but Dino Daibo Ken looked amazing. Like, what are you talking about? I mean, maybe, but like, I think they look great recently. All I remember about 4Kids Alabasta was putting the TV on mute and playing DS while I waited for Bleach to come on. Oh. I mean, the One Piece adaptation has different eras that adapt it differently. Some of it's good and some of it's a little infuriating, but right now I think it's pretty much the best it's ever been. Yeah. Oh, I can totally tell that. But I'm looking for... I know things about like Dressrosa and Whole Cake that people were very ugh about, and it does seem kind of ugh. But especially if I'm invested in the story and stuff, which I think I will be, I don't think it's going to make much of a difference. I think the anime feels more adventure-y with its leisurely pace. Yep, I agree. But some manga panels look so good, it's just not reasonable to adapt an animation with how much detail they have. Oh, sure. But that's literally every adaptation, with manga to anime. Especially if it's the first time you've seen that thing. I'm not going to maybe have as much attachment or nostalgia to a particular manga panel if I don't experience it that way first. But maybe maybe I'm being unfair in that way. I don't feel like to spoil it to let you know that Oda has confirmed that One Piece is not some abstract concept like friendship. Okay, cool. That's great. It's going to be great, I think. I think it's super promising that I know this much about it, about the whole Laugh Tale thing, that Roger and his crew got to Laugh Tale and they found something and they laughed, and that's why they call it Laugh Tale, because they just thought it was hilarious. I love that. Especially with how funny One Piece is, and the tone of this story, it's very adventurous and lighthearted, first and foremost, in my opinion. So I think that's fantastic. That's so promising. I'm so excited. But I can tell that like the point is really the journey and not as much the One Piece, which is great because he doesn't really talk about One Piece that much, which is awesome. I love that. Yeah, I missed that more adventure-oriented part of One Piece. The worst part of the One Piece 4Kids One Piece was I could tell there was a good series there. It was just covered in a mountain of crap. I like Emma, but love Otoyome Gadari manga by the same author. I should read Emma, though, because I only watched the anime. Second season felt weaker than first. Cool, excited to watch it. Yeah, it's understandable. I'm glad they're positive about Emma, but don't have to put down other stuff to do it. I know. It definitely also because that was about 50 episodes after I got caught up, and then the pacing weekly was more of the problem. Yeah, the pacing weekly is what's really going to be a killer, I think. I think once I get to episode 1000 or something, I'm probably going to be like, I'll probably do what I usually, I'm not going to watch it weekly. I'm going to be watching it in bursts for sure. Unless if I hear something super crazy happen in a recent episode, I'll get caught up. But other than that, not really. Well, there isn't that much filler in One Piece. No, almost nothing in comparison. Like 11%, I think, was the total. Yeah, I agree. I think the filler is decent, from what I've seen. There's some arcs that are just like, but it's really, again, it's just really just bolstered by a great cast, a fucking incredible cast. The dynamics with each other are unbelievable, which I imagine is what gets kind of rough about maybe why people don't like post-time skip as much, because I kind of know what happens post-time skip. I've heard about it, so. So that'll be probably pretty difficult for me because I love that aspect so much. One Piece now looks better than 99% of current TV anime. Toei can do great things if they want. Like the filler in Logetown was stuff that Oda wanted to put in the manga but didn't have time to. Yeah, okay, yeah. So that's been a case since like the 90s then. So, well, it's 2000 I think is when Logetown happened. But yeah, oh yeah, makes sense. Now, Whole Cake, when it gets really good again, is when it gets really good again, in my opinion. Precure is an exception as well as Toei's movies. I mean, if you look at Dragon Ball Super, you can tell the animators wanted to do more of the fights, but Toei just made them rush them out. Guess. I'll admit the animation got a huge quality buff during Whole Cake. One Piece was buggy the whole time. Yeah. Kisagi looks amazing. To be fair, I'm talking about Toei's long runners. If I catch up with the anime, then I could just read the manga to bide my time to binge arcs when they finish. That'll be my strat then. Honestly, you know what? That makes sense to me. When I get caught up, I'm restarting. I'm just gonna go back to the beginning. I'll rewatch it, and I'll just because like right now where I'm starting, it takes about 50 weeks. You know, if it takes a whole year to get through One Piece and stuff, or maybe even longer and stuff, then I'll just use that as an excuse. I'll just rewatch, dude. Hell yeah. And then I have more to watch afterwards. I'll be caught up. Or if I want, I can just go right to where I stopped, and you know, if I really need to catch up. So easy. I have no problem. If I'm watching it weekly, and it's usually a highlight of my week, especially when I have a bad week. I bet. On that note, I owe an apology to Attack on Titan Season 4 after hearing how the production committee treats the anime staff. I'm just glad they are able to get the show out at all. Yeah, that's a lot of shows, but it seems that with Attack on Titan being so high profile, like that literally happens with most shows. So, it's unfortunate. It sucks. And to me, it's like at the end of the day, this art is going to be what lasts and what people remember. A lot of these popular shows probably had a ton of crunch and a ton of low wages and shit. But like, it's kind of a broken record at that point, at least to me. All right, well, a bit of a fun stream. Cranked through that stuff, and then we talked about One Piece a good deal. That was a nice time. If you guys had any other articles you want me to read, but other than that, I'll probably peace out. I have some work to do tomorrow, but then tomorrow I got One Piece gets renewed for me. Like I have it paced so that it comes out in batches, so I don't go too far ahead or whatever, or I watch too much or something. I'm trying to pace myself out. But so Skypiea will take 2 weeks. I'm gonna watch half of Skypiea this coming week, and then the second half the week after. And that should be it. That's a great strat. One Piece is so rewatchable. AOT's production committee is so bad and strict that that's why the studio change happened at all. I'm loving Attack on Titan Part 2. Me too. Attack on Titan's doing really great. I love it. Yeah, well, I think that'll be it. You guys have a good week. Thanks for coming on. Good seeing you. Yo, peace. Yo, peace.